The World Economic Forum in Davos is usually where world leaders smile for cameras, shake hands, and pretend everything is under control. But this year, something felt very different. Because instead of polite applause, President Donald Trump walked straight into a storm of resistance. And by the time the dust settled, many were saying the world had finally pushed back. Davos is supposed to be neutral ground, a snowy playground for billionaires, presidents, and power brokers. But the moment Trump's name entered the conversation, the tone shifted. His America First agenda clashed hard with the globalist spirit of the event. And behind closed doors and sometimes very publicly, world leaders were done holding back, but that was only the beginning. One of the first cracks appeared with France. Trump claimed he had pressured France into raising prescription drug prices, painting it as another victory. But Macron's office didn't just quietly deny it, they went public, loudly, in a blunt social media post. They called the claim fake news, no diplomacy, no quoting. For longtime allies, that kind of language sent a message. The patience was gone. And what happened next shocked even seasoned observers. Canada quickly became the next flashpoint. Prime Minister Mark Carney warned that the global order itself was facing a rupture. That wasn't just political talk, it was a warning shot. Trump fired back fast, accusing Canada of living on freebies. Suddenly, this wasn't about policy anymore. It was personal. The exchange symbolized something bigger. Allies who once followed Washington's lead were now openly challenging it, and the tension was only building. Then came Greenland. What might have once sounded like a joke turned into a serious diplomatic fault line. Trump's proposal to acquire Greenland reignited outrage across Europe. Denmark, Germany, Belgium leaders stood shoulder to shoulder, urging Trump to back off. For them, this wasn't negotiation. It was about sovereignty, about boundaries that shouldn't be crossed. And the backlash grew louder by the hour. From London, Keir Starmer didn't even need to be in Davos to steal headlines. The UK Prime Minister made it clear he would not yield to US pressure tied to Greenland or looming tariff threats. No hesitation, no ambiguity. It was a clear line in the sand, and it showed that resistance to Trump wasn't limited to the EU. It was spreading, but perhaps the most ominous warning came from the heart of Europe itself. Ursula von der Leyen spoke of a future world without rules, a phrase that landed like a thunder. She and other European leaders signaled that the era of appeasement was over. Trade threats, tariffs, and intimidation would no longer be met with silence. Davos had transformed into something unexpected, a stage 4 coordinated pushback as Trump prepared to arrive. Media coverage exploded. Headlines screamed that world leaders had destroyed him. YouTube commentators piled on. Cable news framed Davos as a global ambush. Was it exaggerated? Maybe, but optics matter, and the image forming was clear. Trump wasn't walking into applause, he was walking into resistance. European diplomat described Trump's presence as swinging a wrecking ball at the international order. Even the U.S. Treasury Secretary tried to calm the waters, telling Europe to take a deep breath and listen to Trump's arguments. But by then, the message had already been sent. The world wasn't listening anymore. So the real question isn't whether Trump was destroyed, it's whether this moment marks a turning point. A world that once accommodated him now openly challenges him. And as Trump steps onto the Davos stage, isolated but defiant, one thing is certain: global politics just entered a far more explosive chapter. Who do you think really won at Davos? And is this backlash going to stop Trump or fuel him even more?